Dalton Haken, and I have the pleasure of serving as Sioux Falls Mayor as well as today's Master of Ceremonies for this special day. And it's also very timely, obviously, that we can be gathered here for this event on Martin Luther King Day. And so we had to put the pedal to the metal on the pour to make sure we got it done in time, but we got it done. So with little room to spare, so thanks to everyone who was involved with that. To kick things off today, I would like to introduce Pastor Dwayne Williams and invite him forward to provide us with an invocation. Pastor Williams served as a pastor in Sioux Falls for 23 years, and he currently serves the congregation of First Baptist Church of Huron. So please welcome Pastor Williams to kick us off today.
I'm deeply honored and appreciate seeing all of you out here on your noonday hour. What a great occasion for us to gather to celebrate the life and legacy of Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. I'm very honored during these occasions because it's the only time of the year that I get to say that I have something very closely tied to Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., and that is that we're both American Baptist pastors. And so it's a great honor and privilege to be able to extend this invocation, to invite our Lord's presence to be with us as we continue to celebrate. Please bow with me for a word of prayer. Most glorious God, it is you who have called us to this place. And we come in humble adoration of who you are as we dare to pay tribute to your son, to your servant, Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. And God, we hear your word speak to us today. You have shown us, oh man, what is good, and what does the Lord require of thee, but to do justly, and to love mercy, and to walk humbly with our Lord. Yes, Lord, you have demonstrated to us your love and your mercy in this community. And so we beseech you not only for your presence during this gathering, but your blessing over a city who would embrace its diversity. We ask your blessing upon the man who sculpted the statue.
A little over a year ago, I was at the Juneteenth event, and Porter had a clay miniature that he was working on there, and we got to talking about peace, and Porter mentioned he wanted to make it a life-size version, but needed funding for the cast and for the pour, and I'd like further ado, I'd like to introduce Porter Williams, the guy who has his fingerprints on the beautiful sculpture we're going to see in a few minutes here. So Porter, come on up.
People show it up. This has been a thing with me with Martin Luther King for many years, like 30 years anyway. I've always admired and honored the thoughts and wishes of Martin Luther King. I wished I could have felt that way when I was a child growing up in Sioux Falls, but I was a little different. Like a lot of you know, I really didn't walk in the footsteps of Martin Luther King at the time, but as I grow older, should be honored, especially him being right here in Sioux Falls. And for years, people didn't recognize that. Well, because I think they forgot about it. You know, I had to do a lot of research just to even find out that he was here. I was here at the time that he was here, but I just didn't. I didn't walk in his. In that era of time in Sioux Falls. So come a long ways. Matter of fact, it's come along so far that a black South Dakotan and black Sioux Falls person, we've come a long ways. And I've had to see a lot of my friends here. That's the cowboy. Yeah. How are you doing? Good? All right. Well, I don't know what else I could say, but I'm glad to see so many people show up.
Thanks, Porter. And I think you're going to mention this maybe later, but the statue, the pose that Dr. King is striking is straight from the picture that was in the paper. At the Argus Leader at that time. So it's not just a random pose, it's from the picture that was in the Argus Leader. Argus Leader's an old paper from around there. And it's great. So, and that happened not far from here, right over along 6th Street. So next on our program is Dr. Laura Renee Chandler. Dr. Chandler is a professor of history at the University of South Dakota, where she also serves as the director for the Center for Diversity and Community. Dr. Chandler is also the director of the South Dakota African American History Museum. Please help me welcome Dr.
Good afternoon. So first, I would just like to say thank you to the mayor, to the city of Sioux Falls. Thank you for organizing and hosting this dedication and for inviting me to give brief remarks today. Thank you to the Sioux Falls Arts Council, the Sioux Falls Area Community Foundation, and the city of Sioux Falls for their support and creation, in support in the creation and placement of this work. And last but certainly not least, thank you to Mr. Porter. Porter has spent many years educating our citizens on the importance of African American history in South Dakota. He established the South Dakota African American History Museum as a resource for our community, and he has worked tirelessly to highlight and commemorate the life and achievements of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. The dedication of Dr. King's statue today is a recognition of Porter's gifts as both an artist and a creator, but it is also a testament to his advocacy in the field of African American history in our community. On behalf of the board of the South Dakota African American History Museum, I can say that it's an honor to know you, to work with you, and to learn from you. We hope to carry forward your legacy of educating the citizens of this state about the perseverance of African Americans in South Dakota. Congratulations. It's an honor to be here with all of you today on this very special occasion. I'm struck by what today's dedication says about where we are as a community and where we are going. When Dr. King visited South Dakota on January 12th of 1961 to share his philosophy of nonviolent direct action, he did so facing a series of challenges both in the South and nationally. His approval ratings were in the low 30s. More than 50% of white Americans believed that his work was harmful to relations between blacks and whites. And even a significant proportion of African Americans feared that his campaign for civil rights, although justified, would worsen conditions for the lives of African Americans before making them better. In October of 1960, just 3 months before his visit, Dr. King was arrested and sentenced to 4 months of hard labor for protesting a department store that refused to hire black employees. He was released only as a result of an intervention by Robert F. Kennedy. He was also in the planning stages of the 1961 Albany campaign in Georgia, an elevated direct action resistance movement against discrimination in the state of Georgia. Dr. King proposed this campaign when he realized that Southern discrimination had only become more entrenched and determined in the years following the success of the Montgomery bus boycott. The Albany campaign was ultimately unsuccessful. His visit to Sioux Falls was part of a national tour that included trips to Rhode Island, California, Illinois, and other states. He expounded the virtue of the beloved community, a concept he developed as a result of his studies at seminary school and his research on Gandhi's anti-colonial movement in India. The beloved community emerged as the result of the eradication of three interconnected forms of oppression: racism, militarism, and poverty. Pastor Hayes and members of the St. John Baptist Church were successful in encouraging Dr. King to travel to Sioux Falls to share this philosophy. It has only been in the 50-plus years since his death that we have located Dr. King's campaign against multiple forms of injustice in its rightful place in our own understanding of historical progress. He is one of the greatest Americans to ever live. He represents the best of who and what we are. He held an abiding commitment to justice, and he was relentless in his drive to hold America accountable to its professed ideals, even though it made him deeply unpopular. But what is most powerful about Dr. King is that his life is a testament to the fact that there are many people that we have to thank for making this nation what it is today. His organizing and activism was always amplified by and indebted to countless organizers engaged in their own freedom struggles. Black women organizers in Montgomery, in Atlanta, and Greensboro. Indigenous movements in the U.S. and South America. Anti-colonial movements in India and Western Africa. Labor movements in northern urban centers in the U.S. This has always been part of the power and the appeal of Dr. King. He stood as an emblem, a symbol, for our collective struggles for what is right, what is fair, and what is just. This statue is a memorial to the life and work of Dr. King, but it also serves as a reminder and a motivator for the work that we still have left to do. Work that we must do to make our community more open, inclusive, and just for all who enter it. It's fitting that this dedication is taking place in the same week in which the County Commission and City Council have made bold statements against hate, xenophobia, and exclusion. Through the tremendous leadership of our city government and organizing of dedicated, hardworking community members, our city has come together to say that hate has no home here. These acts are a declaration of our core values as a community. Today, we are witnessing an important moment and a milestone for our city. There are many people and communities that contribute to the life and the vibrancy of Sioux Falls. And it is one of the most fundamental needs that we have as human beings, to be seen, to be represented, and to feel valued. All those years ago, when Dr. King visited our city, he set in motion a series of events that would allow us to come together today and say, we are home. At the South Dakota African American History Museum, we are proud to include an exhibit that tells the story of Dr. King's visit in 1961. And now, after today, thanks to Porter and the city, we have a beautiful addition to make to this story. And I sincerely hope that we will continue to share and to add to this story with all of you for years to come.
Thank you, Dr. Chandler. You know, again, it is an exciting day for our city today. In a few moments, we'll walk to the park out there, and some of our future African-American leaders, like the youth of Sioux Falls, will remove the drape and unveil the statue. But before we do that, I want to mention a few notes of thanks and of gratitude. Again, Pastor Williams, Dr. Chandler, thanks for being here today, for your words. Obviously to Porter for donating your time and talents for this sculpture. I want to thank the Sioux Falls Area Community Foundation and the Sioux Falls Arts Council for helping provide half of the funding to match the city's contribution to produce this statue. Thank you to those organizations. Also note of thanks to Bronze Age Arts here in Sioux Falls for the production work. The folks here had a tight window to scale the statue and bronze it. You can get this to stop shaking. There we go. I'm going to hold this so that not annoying the raisins. There we go. The folks had a tight window to scale the statue and to bronze it, as I mentioned. And as you'll see in a few moments, they did an incredible job. producing Porter's vision. And thanks to all of you for being here today. Today is one for the history books for this city. A new landmark has been placed in the landscape of our city to stand as a reminder of the accomplishments of Dr. King, as well as a reminder of the work ahead of us to try and bring unity to the United States and continued unity here in Sioux Falls. It also stands as a tribute to those who stood alongside Dr. King and the Civil Rights Movement. On behalf of the people of Sioux Falls, I want to dedicate this statue to the legacy of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., as well as those who have fought and continue to fight for justice, unity, and equality throughout the world, but especially right here in our own city.